When we last checked in with Castle Crenshaw, he'd hacked off the top of his high tops and was teased mercilessly for it. Let's pick up with him on page 81, starting with the word miraculously, in the hopes that he can catch a break. Miraculously, the lunch bell rang. Everybody poured into the hallway, moving toward the cafeteria, some still talking about me, others playing and joking, slapping heads, jumping on backs, getting Mr. Baskin, the school security guard, all mad as usual, forcing him to leave his post to deal with the craziness. And knowing that Baskin wasn't where he was supposed to be, once I finally got to the double doors of the lunchroom, a lunchroom I felt was waiting to eat me, I just kept walking. More like a sore walk run, straight out of the front door of the school. I had never skipped class before. Never. I mean, I had my fair share of school problems, but I was never bold enough to just not go. And I definitely didn't have the guts to walk out in the middle of the day. But now I didn't have a choice. I had to get out of there. Once I was outside, I broke out in a full on run. I mean, I straight up jetted, and because I was so scared of getting caught, I couldn't even feel the pain in my legs anymore. Adrenaline overload. I ran and ran until I was far enough away from the school to not get caught. I turned down a busy street with a whole bunch of stores on it just because it seemed like the easiest place to blend in. I almost went into a wig shop just because I figured I might be able to grab a disguise. I mean, a wig would definitely do that. But nah. Then there was the fish market. I looked in the window. Three short guys took huge fish, big like they were baby sharks or something, and hacked the heads off with giant knives. Wham! That was wild, but somehow I could relate to the fish. Actually, I could kind of relate to the men chopping the heads off the fish, too. Then I came to a sporting goods store. That's when the best idea ever popped into my head. Welcome to Everything Sports, a lady greeted me at the door. Her name tag said Tia. She was wearing sweatpants and a basketball jersey with the store's name on the front. She didn't really look like she played sports, though. Patty looked like an athlete, but this girl, not so much. I mean, she had a makeup and had her hair all done. Let me know if you need some help finding anything, she said. I hummed awkwardly. I tried not to look her directly in the face just because I didn't want her to say nothing about me not being in school. Plus, I felt weird about being the only person in the store. Y'all got track stuff? I asked. Then, trying to be more clear, I added, like shoes? Yep, right over here, the girl Tia said, leading the way. The track shoes at Everything Sports were amazing. Neon green and gold, shiny black and electric blue. They looked like they were full of power and speed. Like just wearing them could get me closer to Usain Bolt's world record. They were just like Lou's. I picked up one of the shoes, a silver one, flipped it over to see the price, then put it right back down. Yikes! Then I looked at a mean, bright orange one, looked at the bottom. Want to try any of them? Tia asked. She'd been standing behind me the whole time. I put the orange shoe back. They were even more, and turned to face her. The silver ones, I guess. Size? She asked. I don't really know. I think an 8, maybe 8.5. The truth is, I had no idea what size I wore. I couldn't remember. When me and Ma went to get my last pair, the ones I was wearing, the ones that now had their heads chopped off, the reason we went in the first place was because the sneakers I had were too small. I think I was a 7 then, and we had to bump up to an 8, but I just couldn't remember. Tia eyeballed my feet, and even though I knew she was trying to guess my shoe size, I couldn't help but thinking she was looking at my chewed up dogs like, what the? I was hearing Shamika's booming laugh ringing in my ears again when Tia finally chirped, I'll bring a 9, too. I took a seat on one of the benches and looked around at the boxing gloves and soccer balls and every other kind of sports equipment. There was a man working in the store, too. He was standing next to a rack of jump ropes, tossing a basketball back and forth from hand to hand, and occasionally spinning it on one finger, but only for like half a second. He probably wasn't no athlete either. A few moments later, Tia came back out with 2 boxes. Okay, she said, setting the boxes down on the floor in front of me. I got an 8 and a 9, but no 8.5. She popped the top of the first box. Let's start with the 9. She pulled the silver shoes from the box and set them down in front of me. I untied my frayed shoestrings. I had to cut them too. And slipped my sneakers off, tucking them under the bench. 2 more people walked into the store. Tia and the other guy greeted them, and Tia encouraged me to put the shoes on. Walk around, jump up and down or whatever. Take your time and get a feel for them. I put the shoes on. The 9s fit perfectly. After I laced them tight, I stood up and bounced up and down a few times like Tia suggested. They felt amazing, almost like I didn't have any shoes on at all. I stepped in front of the mirror to check myself out. Man, it looked like I was wearing spaceships on my feet. Or silver bullets. How are they? Tia came back over to check on me. They're good, I said, still staring at my feet in the mirror. I felt like they had some kind of power in them, and that power was pumping into me. The kind of power that shut down all laughter. I repeated, now looking at her. They're good. Perfect. Tia nodded and went to talk to one of the other customers. And that's when I made my move. At first, I wasn't going to do it. I mean, when I went into the store, it was a thought, but only a thought. Not even like a real thought either. Because I knew that I could just ask my mother to get them for me, and she would. Because she felt like this track thing was going to keep me out of trouble. But when I saw how much they cost, I just couldn't ask her for them. Nobody would have nothing to say about me with these on my feet. And that's when the thought became real. I took the shoes off, and when Tia moved to the other side of the store to show the baseball gloves to one of the other people who had come in, and the other guy who worked there had run in the back to grab something for the other customer, I slipped the silver bullets in my backpack. I put the top back on the box and put the empty box under the other one, the 8s. Then I put my sneakers back on as fast as I could. I slung my bag on my shoulder and headed for the door. Then, as I got there, Tia called out, "No good?" I was stunned, but shook it off and played it cool. They're amazing. I love them, I said, trying not to look her in the face. Maybe I'll come back for them later. I pushed the door open. As soon as I stepped through the doorway, I took off. I pounded down the street, waiting to hear someone yell, "Hey, kid!" or "Thief! Somebody stop that kid!" like they do on TV. But no one did. At least, I didn't hear none of that. The streets can be noisy with cars and people bumbling around, not to mention when you're running scared like I was, the only sound you really hear is the sound of your own heart banging like a scary soundtrack to the chase. I turned the corner, still looking over my shoulder for the police, but I stopped running because if a cop saw a random kid running down the street in the middle of a school day, might be a sign the kid's up to no good. And I was that kid. So I tried to throw off any potential cops by walking. But that felt cocky, so I did a weird Don't mind me. I'm just doing my old lady power walk thing. I knew it was only a matter of time before the police came out of nowhere, charging at me, ready to take me to jail, all because I wanted some dope shoes to be a better runner, to be a better basketball player, be better so nobody could say. Anyway, the cops never came. I didn't stop though, too paranoid. I almost jumped into the trash can when a police car with his sirens on zipped past me, but he wasn't looking for me. Nope, he was looking for some real criminal. I wasn't a real criminal, one with a real rap sheet. Of course, after about 5 or 6 minutes of not quite running, not quite walking, I had to stop and figure out exactly where I was going. Didn't want to head home. I mean, I could have. It would have been safe, but I just didn't want to go there. When I'm there by myself for too long, the house becomes some kind of time machine, teleporting me back 3 or 4 years, listening to my mom and dad fight and scream every night, taking me back to all the bad stuff. So that was out. There was only one other place I thought I was safe enough to go: Mr. Charles's store. When I got there, Mr. Charles was talking to a delivery man. He signed a piece of paper, one of those 3-in-1 papers, and a guy in dusty blue overalls ripped the pink one from the bottom and gave it to Mr. Charles. Then the guy grabbed his metal carrier thing on wheels and rolled out. "Castle?" Mr. Charles said in his loud voice. He folded the pink piece of paper in half and tucked it somewhere behind the counter. He turned the TV down, then checked his watch, clearly confused about why I wasn't in school. But instead of just asking, he asked the usual, "Let me guess. Sunflower seeds?" He snatched a bag off the wall. I wasn't even really thinking about sunflower seeds, but I did skip lunch, and since he brought it up. "Let me guess. $1, I replied as usual, digging into my pocket for a buck. "Nope. $10, Mr. Charles said, pulling the seeds back off the counter. $10, I snipped. "What do you mean $10? "I mean, sunflower seeds cost you $10 from now on, until you tell me why you're not in school." Mr. Charles held out his hand, waiting for me to put the $10 I didn't have in it. Then he shrugged and put the sunflower seeds back up on the hook. "Mr. Charles," I moaned, "are you serious?" "Serious as a heart attack," he said, so predictably that I could have said it for him. I looked at him for a second, trying to give him my best puppy dog face, even though I wasn't sure I even had one. "Won't work," he said. I leaned against the glass of the big fridge Mr. Charles kept the deli meats in. "Okay," I huffed. "I left after social studies because kids were laughing at me." Mr. Charles came from behind the counter, propped himself up against the ice chest. "Come again?" I said, "I left after social studies. Kids were laughing at me." This time louder. "Laughing at what?" I didn't say nothing. I just hiked my pants up and let my shoes do the talking. Mr. Charles looked down at my mangled kicks and dropped his mouth open. "What'd you do?" he asked, stepping back to get a better view. "I cut them," I said flat out, letting my pants drop back down. I can see that. But why? I wanted to rip open my backpack and say, "To make them more like these." But I didn't, because then Mr. Charles would have wanted to know where I got those dope kicks from and all that. And the next thing you know, he would have jacked the price of sunflower seeds up to $100. I'm on the track team now, and they all got good shoes, low tops. And you can run better in low tops. "So you hacked half your sneakers off?" "Pretty much," I said, cool. And today at school, when some of the kids noticed, they laughed. So I left. Please don't tell my mom. I've been saying that a lot lately. Mr. Charles sighed and went back behind the counter. He took the bag of seeds off the hook and set them in front of me. Okay, this one's on me, he said. But when I reached for them, Mr. Charles wouldn't take his hand off the bag. But no more running out of school, especially just because people are laughing at you. People are always going to be laughing at you, Castle. Trust me. You been laughed at, I asked. I was willing to bet that he never got made fun of. I mean, there was the whole "you look like a white James Brown" thing, but I wasn't sure if anyone else noticed that or if it was just me. And then there was the almost deaf thing, but I figured that was just because he was old. No big deal. Other than that, how could anyone tease Mr. Charles? What could anyone tease Mr. Charles about? Ha! He hooted. Of course I have. I get laughed at all the time, son. Listen, I come from a family of Einsteins. My brother's a doctor. My sister's a big-time college professor at one of those smarty universities. Both my parents were lawyers. And me? I sell you sunflower seeds. What's wrong with that? I asked. Shoot, having your own store seems like a sweet deal. You ain't never got to pay for no groceries. Nothing is wrong with it. Not to me and you. But to them? Oh, they look at me like some kind of letdown. You know what they call this place? Charlie's Little Store, he said, his voice now more serious. Little. Don't ever let someone call your life, your dreams, little. Hear me? I nodded. He continued, all fired up. Because while they're out there sniffing their own butts, I get to hang out with a big man like you, a future world's greatest. And that's cool. Mr. Charles smiled big, warm. So we got a deal? No more skipping school? No more skipping school, I agreed all quick. He lifted his hand from the bag, but before I could take it, he slapped his hand back down on it. You're not saying that to get the seeds, are you? He said, now glaring. Nah, man, for real. No more skipping school. He let go of the sunflower seeds, and I snatched the bag before he changed his mind again. Oh, Ghost. Poor choices, my friend. You got to figure out how to do better.